John chapter 13, verse 36. Simon Peter said to him, Lord, where are you going? Jesus answered him, Where I am going, you cannot follow me now, but you will follow afterward. And now, is this a contradiction of what Jesus said earlier, that you can't follow me? And now he's saying, no, now you can't follow, but afterward you can follow me, right? I think we've looked at this as well already. This number, a word is not always used in the same way. That's what words are. There's context to a word, right? And from the context, we can determine what the person is actually meaning. Okay, so when he's speaking about the coming here now, is he speaking about going to heaven and they will follow there? And because this is kind of the way he spoke it when he spoke to the Pharisees about the coming. You can't come there. Why? Because you don't believe in me. So you're not going to be in the past new heaven and new earth. You will be lost. You're going to hell. That's that. Okay. So he's speaking of that here. The other earlier in this chapter, the coming. What was he speaking of? The going. You can't go. Come with me here, right? So that's a different way here, how he spoke about it there. I explained it. And this is now a different way here. Again, he's speaking more of, well, actually, not the way he spoke with the Pharisees, but the idea of dying ultimately. They're going to die for their faith. And they're going to. So there's that coming, with the going, sorry, not the coming, the going, in that sense of they're going to die for him, like he is going to die now. Right, for the glory of God, like they for the glory of God. So this is then the going that he is in this verse speaking about. Okay, so don't make, just because you see the same word, it needs to mean the same thing, context. So Peter asks, so where are you going? And Jesus says, yes, now you can't, but you're going to follow me later. Okay, and they're going to follow him later. They will suffer for him. Okay, that says that. Verse 37. Peter said to him, Lord, why can I not follow you now? I will lay down my life for you. Right? So from Peter's answer here, you can see that he understands kind of this going part. So if the going means even you need to go to death, right? We are willing to do that, right? So how can you say we're not willing to do that? So like, why can't I follow you now? Why? How can you say that now at this moment I'm not willing to go with you even to death? Which is ultimately what Jesus is speaking. This is where he's going. It's like he's willing to lay down his life for Jesus. It's like we as Christians, so many of us as well, always, we're willing to lay down our lives for Jesus. But when on Sunday morning they need to put money there in the offering plate, oh man, then search for the smallest coins in the pocket and put that in the offering plate. Yeah, right, you are willing to go all the way to even die for Jesus? But you can't take out even the biggest note in your pocket and put that in the church offering. At the restaurant you can, but here in church, it's church and this is my money. I worked hard for it. Or, oh, I can't go to my neighbor and tell him about Jesus. Man, but I'm willing to die for Jesus. But, it's his own personal opinion. I don't want to intrude on his own personal opinion, right? Religion is like separate. That's one thing. We must not speak about religion. Christianity, it's I can live and he is who he is, so we must keep quiet about it. And then church, yes, I'm willing to die for Jesus. Yeah, just a bunch of Peters. You're not willing to die for Jesus at all. Look at your actions. It clearly shows you're not willing to die for him. Verse 38. Jesus answered, will you lay down your life for me? Truly, truly, I say to you, the rooster will not crow till you have denied me 3 times. And Jesus asked Peter, you willing to lay down your life for me? Really? Again, he starts truly, truly. It's like, sure. Listen carefully, this is important. You willing to lay down your life for me? No, Peter, you're going to deny me before that cock crows. You're going to deny me 3 times. 3 times. 3 times. Like I said, We're always so loud about our willingness to give everything for God, to die for God, to go for God. But when push comes to shove, when we really need to do it, then all of a sudden, nah, we're not really ready for it. We're not really ready for it. Yeah, I remember as well there in Russia when they made all these new laws about in the church about what you're supposed to preach and not preach and stuff like that. And yeah, and unknown people would come into the church and sit there, and it would always shake me a bit. I was just willing to give my life in a sense, or at least I thought so. But when those people were sitting there on Sundays after these laws came out, and like every Sunday another person, this the gospel, it distracted me from the sermon, at least in the beginning for a bit. And I had to fight internally with myself to not dumb the sermon down, so as to not say anything offensive, but to preach the gospel, even though it might mean that at the end they just took me into custody and put me in prison. Like, and I understand, I've been in the mission field for more than 30 years. It ought to be a lot easier for me. So when I judge you and not your willingness to, or your speaking out for, you're willing to die for Jesus, and then ultimately you're not, I'm speaking to myself as well. I can shout out loud, I'm willing to die for Jesus. But am I really willing to die for Jesus? And that you'll only actually know the day you face it. But yeah, now, even if you, okay, I already mentioned in the previous, on the commentary in the previous verse, that explanation of it, that if you even can't give the biggest note in your pocket to Jesus, then sure, you're not willing to die for Jesus. That's a clear sign you're not willing to die. Doesn't matter who comes and knocks on your door. The first person comes and knocks on your door and say, are you a Christian? And if you are, then I will put you in prison. But you're just going to deny that you're a Christian. That's all. That's all. It's simple. You're not even going to think about it. It will be the straightforward answer. So yes, it's time that you think of your willingness to die. Are you just another Peter? Or are you willing to die for Christ? Or are you going to betray him?